Welcome to the 217 Recovery Podcast.
If you don't make mistakes, you won't learn.
With your host, Corey Winfield.
You know how fish is bad is you can't put it on pizza.
And special guest, Justin Burke.
I said something about that to our master radio broadcaster, and he said that he didn't hear nothing.
Got your ass.
It is the 13th of December, 2024. What's up? My name's Corey Winfield.
I'm Justin Burke.
Welcome, 217 Recovery Podcast. Been a minute, we back though.
Yeah.
Got the Recovery Stories Message of Hope Part 4 videos done. They're up at 217recovery.com and on our YouTube channel.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Now have you compressed them all into one video to make a movie like we did with one?
Which I might look at that again. But I think Amazon changed their stuff because we've all seen some crap on Amazon. You're like, are you kidding me? Someone paid to make that?
Right.
And I tried to do that with the Recovery Stories 1. Did all the editing, all the stuff, spent so much time on it. And then I had to get it all in the right format, the right size, all this stuff. And they're like, yeah, you can't do that.
Well, the only reason why I asked is because sometimes our friends across the street likes to show part 1.
Right.
Because it's all put together in one show and they don't have to do multiple clicks.
No, I might do that. Because, back to my story here, is if you had something that has multiple parts to it, like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, whatever.
Yeah.
Then I believe at one point in time you could have done that, but I think they changed it to where like you can't do that anymore because people were putting so much garbage on there. But I could still put it together as all one thing. I'm acting like it's bad. This hard work. I got to roof this house and carry those rocks from over here to over there and then back to over here. Oh, so heavy. Yeah, no, I'll look into that. But as right now, though, they are just separate parts. You know, there's Kim, there's me, Russ, Jesse telling the story, and then Marnie and Chris Goss, who used to be on 217 Recovery Podcast.
Yeah, his story was amazing. Like, truly amazing.
Yeah, he gave a good message of hope. And I liked what Chris said about smoking weed. And I remember back in the day, man, and it was actually when Chris moved into the sober living house I was managing, and he became a member of 217 Recovery Podcast. And before he moved in, though, well, let me backtrack it all. When we were in treatment together, we rode the bus home. I remember him saying, I'm still going to smoke weed, man. I said, all right, man. Well, it didn't work for me. It always led me back to something harder.
Right.
You know, a lot of people like, oh, it's just weed, man. Well, that's the problem. It's just weed.
It's not the buzz you're looking for.
Yeah, my alcohol brain was like, I want alcohol.
Yeah,
screw this weed.
Cotton mouth.
And all the other people I've talked to that had other substance choices would kind of say the same thing, but that they had went back to just weed, and it never was just weed.
No.
It always led them back to something. Well, alcohol's never my problem then. I'll just smoke weed and drink. Okay, well, let's break down the addiction part. Let's break down the trauma that you're covering up. Let's start there, because you're covering up something with a substance.
Yep.
That's the problem. It's not, this or that, or I've never had a problem with that. Well, guess what? Welcome to alcoholism then, because that's the road you're going down, and that's a slippery slope. So Chris tells me, though, I'm just going to smoke weed. And I said, all right, well, be careful, man. You know, and do what you need to do. I'm not trying to tell people what to do, what not to do. I'm just saying what for me, it didn't work. Well, maybe like 3 weeks later, I get a message, you know, and he's like, hey, man, I need some help because I'm doing other stuff now. And I'm like, okay. And he ended up going back to treatment. And then I think he left. And then I started working in the treatment center. And he's like, look, man, like, I'm not going to say I'm never going to smoke weed again, because I probably will. But while I'm living in sober living, I'm not going to. I said, okay. So Chris came in and he was on fire, man. He was doing really good for a while. And then that house just became a shit show after I left. And it was just bad for everybody's recovery. And that's the problem sometimes when people, I want to start a sober living house. I'm going to make so much money. That's okay. First of all, if that's what you're thinking, you're wrong. And second, that's not the train of thought there. Like, you need to be thinking like, how can we help people?
Well, as you speak of that house just kind of fell apart, though, there was more to that story of it just falling apart, because even though you may be sober, your mind's maybe not there yet, even though you're not using substances. Because in your case was, you didn't allow certain guys to do certain things on premises, like other people did. So because they were filled by greed and selfishness by accepting bribes.
We don't have to beat around the bush. We can tell the story. I think I've told it before. No, I was managing the sober living house with Ryan Beckman, who was once on the podcast, and things were going good at first, man. Things were going real, what's the word I'm looking for? Optimistic. Things were optimistic.
Yeah.
For kind of everybody in the house. And it started to not be. And some red flags started happening with me, because MAR, it's the Michigan Association of Recovery Residences, they will go around and they will go through these houses. And then if you get certified with MAR, then you can take money from organizations that get Medicaid money. So if someone's coming into your house, the Medicaid will pay for them to live there 90 days. But they want to make sure that the bathroom's working, that the stove's working. Because I stayed at a place in Grand Rapids, man, like the tub was falling through the floor in the bathroom. Like it was a horrible place, and that is not good for my recovery. It was not good for my recovery.
I'm glad I've never been in one of those homes.
I've been to some hellholes. So just, I'm going to go to sober living. No. It is very important what MAR does for recovery residences and for sober living homes. Now, I'm not saying that everybody that's certified with MAR is up on the up. I don't know that. And I can't tell you that just because they're not, that they're a bad place. I'm not saying that. But there are checks and balances with MAR.
Yep.
So there is some of that. And I kept saying, why can't we do that? Why can't we do this? Well, the dude that owned the house apparently had some felonies. And then like with Ryan's past, there's no way that MAR would have certified them with those two in their past. I didn't know it at the time. It was later I found that out. But I kept saying, once you get certified with MAR, I'm trying. Yeah. No, he wasn't trying. He wasn't trying at all, because he knew he couldn't. Mm-hmm. Or at least he found out at one point he couldn't. And he wasn't making the money he thought he was going to be making.
Well, yeah, but if you owe a mortgage on a house, you got to pay that, the taxes, cleaning supplies, basic toiletries, like the paper products,
Yeah. I think he was doing it more for he thought he could make some money on it, and B, he wanted that stature. His friends or was friends, whatever, I don't really know, with Jason DeBeck, who owns the sober living home that I lived at for, I think, 6 months or 3 months. I don't remember, 6 months maybe. And he saw like people kind of looking up to Jason. I think he wanted that.
Yeah.
And
be like that pillar of the community. Be like, oh, no, well, you really changed your life.
I don't think he wanted to be the pillar of the community. He just wanted people to look up to him.
Yeah.
There were some issues, I think, with that guy. But anyway, yeah. So we come home one day from the store, and Tyrone would always go check this bike out, because when people leave, I think he gave them like 2 weeks or something, maybe a month, to come back and get your stuff. Otherwise, it was fair game. And Tyrone kept checking on this bike. So he goes back in this back room where this bike was, and he notices there's a sleeping bag on the floor. And I know. Yeah. And at first I thought, somebody is living in here. Somebody snuck back in, and they're living in here. And so I went to lock the garage, and this dude, it was Thomas or Mike, I don't know. He went by some fake ass name, but he comes running out. He's like, yo, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm locking the garage, man. Nah, dude, don't do that. I'm bringing my girl over. I was like, what? He's like, come on, man. Ryan said it was cool. I already gave him some money. How much you need? He pulls out his wallet and starts trying to pay me money. I said, put your money away. I said, you know what? I'm going to leave this door unlocked. But the house rules. Like you're not to have women trying to bone some chick in the garage, dude. Come on, bro.
Yeah, and sober living, like sexual relations inside the sober living property is not allowed. That dude was trash. And so I went to Ryan, and I went right to Ryan. I was like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, what? I was like, homeboy just came and tried to give me money and said he gave you money so that he could bone his girlfriend in the garage. Well, Chris gets blowjobs in the parking lot. I was like, we're not talking about Chris. And what are you doing at 4 a.m. watching Chris in the car getting whatever? I was like, dude,
This is not what we're trying to do. This is not what we're about. You know, we're trying to show these guys how to live a better life. And I would bring Marnie over, and because you could have women over there,
Yep.
you know, we just don't want you all hugged up on the couch.
Yeah.
But I was showing them, like, look, we can make 217 recovery shirts. Tyrone made some wings. And I was trying to lead by example to show them, look, I'm not rubbing on her booty. I'm not, you know, like,
Yeah, that healthy recovery environment. You know, if you were trying to rub on her booty, I'm sure you went and got a motel room or a hotel room. And there was a couple motel room places in Boyd. And I'm sure in the off season wasn't bad price.
yeah, Petoskey's cheaper, but you had to do what you had to do, you know. But at least when I had her around, I was trying to show them this is what you do.
Right.
And being a year sober, I was just figuring it out too, you know, and I thought it was a good thing. But yeah, all that went down, and it just was like, pff, and then I left. And then, like Chris kind of tells in his story a little bit. If you want to go watch the video, like I said, it's 217recovery.com. Chris kind of hints on how it was supposed to be the next step house, and I think he called it the wrong step house or the misstep house or something.
Something
'Cause
funny like that.
I think at some point, the owner, Naveed, came back and was like, all right, you guys, I'm selling the house. You got 30 days to get out. And I think it was just too much for a lot of those guys. And from what I heard, like, he had people like just paying money to sleep on the floor. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. And, you know, that sucks that Chris had to go through that, because when I was there, man, we had a good time. Everybody was having fun. We were making fun videos. We were doing really good things in recovery.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just had to leave and do my own thing too. And it is what it is. But that can really trip somebody up. But Chris's story, you know, he had a couple more slip ups, and I would always just keep telling him, man, just keep going. You know, don't give up yet. And now, again, when you watch the video and hear his story, and maybe you've listened to the podcast, but he'll tell you that he can't smoke weed. He can't do anything. You know, everything he tries always leads him back to that. And the life he's living now is great. Now, does he got a boat and live in a mansion? Not that I know of, but that's not what life's about.
No.
And when you get to this kind of sober, you start appreciating the things you do have.
Yeah.
You know, awesome. You got milk in the fridge. Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah, it's
You know,
great.
and you got some Captain Crunch in there. Shit, look out. Let's have a
Apple
party.
Jacks out my fridge.
Yeah, you know, that's just the little things sometimes, you know. And then before you know it, God will bless you with those other things.
Yep.
And just when you think, oh, life's not going my way, well, keep going, you know. And hell, the hell that we've been through and that I had to live through, and I've heard it said so many times, and it's kind of cliche, but my worst day sober is better than my best day drinking, you know, or using, because there wasn't very many good days when I was in active addiction. So yeah, the worst day sober is still way, way better. And we all have problems. We go through things. I was talking to my therapist about it just yesterday, I think, or no, 2 days ago.
Yeah, I think it was Wednesday.
Yeah. And I was kind of going over with her because I have some issues with, you know, who I want or who I let watch my son. And I really don't want anybody watching my son. I want to be there for him. I want to do it. And when I was watching him in his crib the other night, I put him in his crib, you know, so we could play, and he doesn't really hang out in his crib at all. And he thought that was awesome. And I was just sitting there, like, just looking over the side thinking he's never going to be this small again. Like, tomorrow morning when he wakes up, he's going to be a little bit bigger than he is.
Yep.
When I get home today, he's going to be bigger than he was when I left. You know, like, he's growing. He's a little baby.
And they don't stop growing, dude.
Yeah. And so why would I want to not enjoy this? And I had to watch him. And that's when it was on Tuesday. We had the movie that we showed here at the Alluvion.
Yep.
And
Great movie.
Yeah. Tipping the Pain Scale. If you haven't seen that, find out how and watch it. It is really, really good. But we had a premiere here. I mean, it came out like a year ago, but still, we showed it here in Traverse City, and it's a very interesting and good movie. But I couldn't make it there because someone had to stay home with our son, because the movie started at 7 and it didn't get over to like 9. There was a panel discussion, so it was quite the night. So I was like, well, I'm going to stay home with Parker, because I took a likable scale around the office, and I told everybody, you know, like, who do you like better? And they all said, oh, Marnie's like a 12 on a 1 to 10. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a 2. So I think she should go.
Especially at Monster Time.
Yeah, but Marnie is likable, and I don't have to be there for everything. And I was like, shouldn't that show the trust I have for the people that are in 217 recovery, that you guys can go to an event without me? And then,
yeah.
I mean, you'd remember the time where I'd have been like, no, gotta be me.
And you actually texted me one thing. You're like, can we please move the business cards?
Yeah.
And I simply moved them. I may have placed them there. I don't remember who placed them there. But as soon as I was like, yep, sure. I get what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah. Because, that's just, I'm not going to get into that right now. But yeah, because I saw something. But still, there was a time where I would have been like, nope, I have to be there. We have to bring him. But he doesn't know how to come to that event. He's a little baby and gets tired. Like, and I don't want to have a babysitter there. I can watch him. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to work through that with my therapist and stuff. And, because Marnie believes that we should leave him with people sometimes. And it's like, well, do we really need to? And, there's different things I can weigh into the consideration of, do we need a babysitter, or can we? Or, it's like, well, how bad do I have to be there at that thing? I don't think I had to be there at all.
No.
So why wouldn't I watch my son? Just so I can go do some of this stuff or do that stuff.
Because like you said, you'll never get those moments back. Mm-hmm. And every day he does something new and you're like, I missed that. Like, how did I let myself miss that? How did I miss watching him crawl for the first time?
Just yesterday.
Like actually crawling,
yep.
Hands, knees, yep. All over the floor.
Yeah. Yes. Now he's not doing it like evil, crazy, evil devil baby that you see in movies where they're like,
oh,
but he likes to put his booty in the air and kind of, he's not really on his, well, sometimes he's on his knees and sometimes he's just on his toes and his hands.
But he's getting it down a lot better than the army crawl that he was doing last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's ready to go because he crawled from the chair to the kitchen. It's like, oh, okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Time to get baby gates.
Oh, we got him. They're in the basement. We'll dust them off. Yeah, because in another week, he's going to be really good at it.
Oh, yeah. I predicted Friday before Christmas. I think Miss Smoker said Christmas.
Yeah, and I said Sunday, and that was last week.
Yeah.
I was like, by Sunday, he'll be doing it. Not too far off, but yeah, so it's those moments, man, and I want to be there for him, so.
You got to, because, I mean, if you're not there, you feel those resentments towards yourself.
Yeah.
Like, why wasn't I here? Why did I make the time? And, like, I catch myself doing that quite a bit lately, and just over things that I just wasn't around to show my daughter growing up, because being in and out of her life, like, and then only being there on the weekends, it was, well, let's go have fun. And, it wasn't much of a learning process. I'm not saying there wasn't times where she did learn something, but for the most part, it was like, well, let's go have fun. Let's go hang out and have fun, and not worry about working or anything like that, and now I'm realizing that I have her full time. It's like, I missed a lot of time, and it's like, I'm really hard on myself about it. And it's like, I got to show a 14-year-old how to shovel snow because she didn't know how. It's like, wow, You
don't know what you don't know. And,
yeah.
You probably just shake your head and be like, oh my God.
I can't, I wanted to yell at her first. And I'm like, how can I yell at her when I never showed her how to do something?
I yell at you.
but that's
you're not
different.
My son.
Yeah.
We're not in that. And it's amazing though, being a father and being at a place that I never thought I would be. And sometimes I think I need to go back and listen to the podcast from early days and, wanting the stuff that I have now back then, and kind of making it happen. It's pretty cool, but it's a lot of work. And, being married, our anniversary was yesterday, and, it's 4 years. I'm like, oh my God, with 4 years, like it seems like just yesterday.
Long. Yeah. Because I was in sober living and I was like, oh, I'm invited. Right. And because we just kind of like started our new friendship after outside of treatment, and it's like, you're like, no, COVID, no one's coming. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. Whatever. But you did take a really nice video, and it is out there, but you know, it was kind of cool how he did do it though, you know.
Yeah, and if you want to see the video, I want to say it's on YouTube, but it's also at 217recovery.com/wedding.
Something like that.
I think that's the page for that. But it's, you know, it's amazing to be here and to be where I'm at and to watch you guys start doing what you're doing and, you know, to actually employ people who are in recovery to do recovery things.
Yep.
And is it stressful sometimes? Sure. You know, every job is, every life is stressful sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're dealing with your mother-in-law or your mother or your stepdad or your stepmom or your dad or your brother or your sister.
Some part of it is stressful.
It's always something, man. And you got to do your best to sidestep the stuff that's not your problem.
Yep.
And sometimes you just step right in anyway. And then you're just like, great.
Well, that's part of the reason why I choose to live by myself. And so that way I don't have to be subjectified by anybody at all. Well, if they call me, I can choose not to answer my phone. You know, I know none of my family's going to drive up here at the drop of a hat to beat on my door. You won't believe what your brother did today. You drove 2 hours up here to tell me what my brother did. No, it just ain't gonna happen, you know. It's just, I'm thankful for that, you know. It's kind of like you know, you moved all the way up here from Southwest Michigan. It's kind of a good feeling, though, isn't it? Because someone just can't hop in the car and, why aren't you answering your phone?
Sometimes they do every month, but that's fine.
You know, at least you're not getting the wellness checks anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how that would play out. No, that would be weird.
That would be.
But no, it is. And, you know, there's issues that, you know, I still have to work on with myself and do the best I can. But, you know, there's resentment things, whether I am passive on something and I'm like, okay. And then I regret it later. Like, man, I really should have put my foot down. We really needed to be there for that, or I needed to be there for that. But instead I was like, yeah, okay. And then if you really want to write down like what's more important in it, and it's like, well, I don't know. Is it any of it really important?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that might seem weird to say that, but if you look at a situation where if it's something that's going to make me happy and I need to do this for my soul, okay, well, maybe that doesn't benefit the family immediately or directly, but it puts me in a better headspace, which will ultimately affect the family better. So, and that's a two-way street. You know, I have to, you know, take my wife's stuff into consideration too. You know, if there's something that she wants to do, is it something that's going to benefit the family immediately? No. But will it put her in a better headspace? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or does she think it'll put her in a better headspace and then it doesn't? And then you're like, oh, that was a waste. But then you have to reel yourself back in and be like, well, it's not shoulda, coulda, woulda time, you know, like it is what it is. But it's a process, man. And it's life. And that's the beautiful thing is I have a choice today, because before I didn't, I would just get drunk over it. I would get drunk over it, say stuff that I couldn't take back, do things I couldn't take back. And at least today I can sit back and think about it. And if I do say something or mess up, I can always at least replay the tape in my head to go, you know, maybe next time let's not do that.
Yep.
You know, how would you, if the shoe was on the other foot? That's all. I'm always trying to kind of do that. Like put yourself in their shoes and then look at it again.
Yeah.
You know, and if you can start doing that, and it's progress, not perfection, you're not going to get it right every time. But if I can next time handle the situation in a different way where I didn't like how I handled it the first time, you know, and it's like, okay, well, I still didn't handle it perfect, but I did handle it better the second time. What can I do next? You know, what should I have done, or how would I have liked the outcome to be? You know, and taking someone else's feelings and thoughts into consideration, and like I said, you know, put yourself in their shoes for once. And
yeah, I've really had to learn how to do that lately too with my daughter, because like she was never given the opportunity of choice until she actually came to live with me full time. And it's like, well, what do you want to do this weekend, kid? Well, I don't know, Dad. Whatever you want to do, because I know you're just not going to not do nothing. Well, no, what do you want to go do? You know, and it's still a constant fight, you know, because she never had choice. She was raised so sheltered with her mom and her mom's mom, you know. It was like, how are you 14 years old and you don't know what you want to do? It's Saturday, you know, like, you want to go swimming, you want to go hiking, like, what do you want? Whatever you want to do, Dad. I just want to be with you and whatever makes you happy. Well, it's not always about making someone else happy. It's also about what do you want to do, and you know, and you're allowed to have your own say so in life, you know, and because some of us do kind of still have that mindset, like we talked earlier, of, well, how can I manipulate this to benefit me, you know? And it's like we have to learn how to not do that. You know, if she wanted to go to a pumpkin patch, I would have took her, you know. It's kind of like that little goofy video I sent you this fall of Dad and Mom taking kid out to the apple farm and picking apples. And he was like, well, this is a complete waste of money. And just for these apples to get left on my counter. How much was that bag of apples, by the way? $50 to rot on my counter?
Yeah.
like you're crazy, you know, but it's not. But it's not about that. It's about allowing them to make those choices and try to be there to guide them and say, well, that probably isn't the healthiest choice, but how about we do this instead, which would be a healthier choice? And trying to guide her through that, you know, and it's a learning process. Because I was raised by a totally different choice outlook on life, you know?
Yeah, and not that you have to raise your daughter the same, but then, you know, still... that's what you knew and that's how you were shown, and then having to catch yourself in those moments where you're like, maybe I didn't handle that better, you know, or maybe I could have handled that. And like you said about going to yell at her about not knowing how to shovel, and then you realize, well, how can I yell at her about not knowing how to shovel when I haven't shown her how to shovel?
Yep. Yeah, you know, she was never taught. And so how can you yell at someone when they were never taught? You know, we're taught on a consistent basis, you know. Maybe I did show her one time, but who's to say how long it was before she was able to do anything? Because at her mom's house, she didn't have chores to do. They did everything. Or chose not to do certain things in life, like clean their house. But whatever. Oh. You know, it is Obviously. What it is, you know. Like when she came back this last time from her mom's, she was like, Dad, I see what you're talking about in life and how appreciative it is when you come home to a clean house. And you can just feel at ease because everything's somewhat put in its place. Like, my house is still lived in, if that makes any sense. But everything's got a place, you know? Like, we're just not going to pile everything up on the table beside the door when we come in because it's a catch-all. No, everything's got a place. Take care of it, you know? And it's kind of, she was like, you know, I'm really appreciating this to show me how to live a decent life and not have everything catch all back the couch. There's tons of blankets on it or whatever because it's up against the wall, and that's just where we pile all the living room blankets, you know. And
well, I'm sure her wife will appreciate that one day. Or her partner or whatever.
Yeah, her partner, because
or her husband.
You don't know anymore.
Obviously,
I'm just glad she's not a furry and trying to use a litter box.
Whoa. Got excited with the button punching there.
Sometimes they assume all black people are from African America.
Ooh.
Okay, Corey Smoker.
Thanks, Miss Smoker.
Yeah, Adam Stevens.
He celebrated some clean time recently.
Yeah,
didn't he?
3 years.
Congratulations, dude.
So props to Adam. And he came by the other day because I got him a coin. And because I knew Adam is busy and I knew he wasn't going to go get himself a coin.
Right.
So it was like one of those things where it was like, I'm going to get Adam a coin because I know he's not going to get one. And then I'll give it to him. And he came by and he wanted to say this.
Dude, my son was God. Like, they're like, that shouldn't have happened. Like, I don't know how. You know what I mean? Like, but.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. Adam. Yeah, thanks for coming by to leave that message for everybody listening. No, but Adam did get his 3 years, and it was pretty cool to be able to give him that coin. I was his mentor last time I went through treatment, and took him a couple more times. But sorry, but no, he's turned it around, man. I'm really, really proud of Adam, and he used to work here at 217 Recovery. Now he works for an organization that's kind of close to us. And it's good to see him doing something that he really likes. And he's doing a really good job at it, too.
He is. I hear a lot of good reviews about Adam.
Yeah.
And his job and how he manages things. And he doesn't just fly off the handle. And he's really level-headed, even keel. And, like, I don't think I've ever seen Adam mad.
I have.
Well, you've known him a lot longer than me.
Yeah. Want to play some euchre? Oh, I don't want to play no fucking euchre. Sorry, dude. I just thought you were just sitting over here by yourself. I thought you'd kind of join us to play some euchre, but okay.
It's funny. I talked to my brother last week in jail. He was like, yeah, I'm sitting in here playing some euchre. I'm like, you got enough white people in your cell.
What?
I was like, normally it's spades, and he was like, nope, euchre.
Okay.
I'm like, oh.
His email is justin@217recovery.com. If you want to send him a little email, say hi. If Adam would have played euchre with us, he would have had a good time, but instead the next day, I'm just going to go right over your conversation there. And the next day they're like, hey, you got a person that you got a mentor. I'm like, who? And they're like, that guy. I was like, oh, the dude that yelled at me. I was like, great. Great. That guy seems like a lot of fun. But no, getting to know Adam over the years has been great, and I'm glad he's doing what he's doing, and big props to him. I also said I was going to give Jim runs a meeting at the 217 Recovery Center Thursdays at 3:30 called Bootability.
Yeah.
And it's kind of Dharma-based, and there were 3 people that came to his meeting yesterday, and he was kind of taken back by it, I think. But anyway, I told him I would give him a shout out.
Yeah. He's actually a good, friendly guy.
Yeah. So there's your shout out, Jim, which he said, oh, don't mention me. But he's enjoying our videos that we post at 217recovery.com from recovery stories. So that's pretty cool. And thanks to Munson, too, for helping sponsor the media for that.
Yeah.
The videos next time are going to look even better.
I can't wait.
I know, because 2 of the cameras are older, but then the one camera we already had. So then, now to add another camera to that, it'll look so much better.
Wow.
8 more cameras to go. Just kidding. but no, next recovery stories in February will look amazing. Did we ask the people yet? I don't think so. Let's not ask.
Well,
Paul Bach is going to be there
to have people suggestions.
Paul Bach said he would be there, so I want to throw his name out there. And he actually works for Munson Behavioral Health. He's a recovery coach and runs their recovery coach department, I believe. And Jay Burton is a guy I don't know if we've asked him yet.
No, but I think he'd be a really good fit.
Oh, absolutely would.
Yeah.
I think he'd do great. So, but I just don't know if he's been axed yet. So, But that's why I'll throw his name out there as a possible person that's going to do the messages of hope. And then, I don't know, we'll see about the stories and who's going to do those. But yeah, February 20th is when I'm kind of ballparking that one.
The 20th?
Mm-hmm.
After 217?
Mm-hmm.
We should do it on 217.
It's a Monday. Ain't nobody got time for that. Like, you should have learned from the movie the other day. The movie that we showed was on a Tuesday at 7:00. Come on. I mean, it's tough to get people there. But Thursday's a lot easier, and just we've done Thursdays in the past. Why rock the boat? Anyway, you have to get out of here, and so do I. So Thank you, Justin, for joining me on the podcast today, and I hope you have a great weekend and the rest of your day.
Yeah, I hope you have a great weekend, too.
Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time.
Later.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. Listen to over 900 episodes on the 217 Recovery app that's free in your app store or online at 217recovery.com.